It is horrible to withhold sex from your spouse. Because you are avoiding, you are ignoring, you are neglecting an opportunity for connection.
Amen.
Are the women listening to me? I hope so. I'm snug up here. I can't see. What is the difference between sex and intimacy? And so this pot, this flower pot, this plant, is a perfect way of explaining it. So this, what is that? What kind of plant is that? Who has a green thumb? Whatever it is, we'll call it plant. So the plant is sex. You take sex outside of that soiled pot, and what will happen? It will surely die. The soiled pot is intimacy. And when great sex is planted in intimacy, it's a beautiful thing. Understand that great sex may not promote intimacy, but intimacy will always promote great sex. So what does intimacy look like? We're going to talk about 3 different zones: cold, warm, and then we're going to get hot. In the cold zone, we have open communication, where you make it safe to converse. Some of us are not taking the time to talk and connect with our spouses. Effective conflict resolution. Some of us have to learn how that's done. I know for me, I grew up in a household where there were lots of arguing. And so I had to learn how to share and exchange ideas without aggression. There is a specific way to resolve conflict. Being able to listen to something that's not your truth, but you're listening to understand and not listening to rebuttal. And so our breakthrough in marriages is taking the time to learn what was never taught to you, or to unlearn the things that were unhealthy. Mutual support of one another. That's in the cold zone, where you are very intentional about making sure your spouse knows that I got you and I believe in you. I want you to turn to your spouse right now. Even if they're working, go run to them. If they're on the camera, on the DJ table, I want you to look at your spouse in the eyes and say, I believe in you. Look at them right now and say, I believe in you. It sucks. It's like what? 3 to 4 words that are so powerful. I believe in you. Unconditional support of one another. It's important that you have routines and schedules that prioritize your relationship. James said it earlier on yesterday. Your calendar and your bank account will almost always expose what you worship. Yes. Your calendar and your bank account will almost always expose what it is you worship. And so making sure you have time to nurture your marriages are very important. It's okay to have family night. I'm talking about just you and your spouse with no devices. Oh, it saddens me when I'm out at dinner and seeing all the family members sitting at the table. Everyone is on their phone, on TikTok, on IG, no intimacy. Sharing the same space or sharing the same time is not intimacy, and it's not quality.
Amen.
Marriages need laughter. When couples come to me for intimacy coaching, I will ask, when's the last 3 times you laughed so hard you almost peed on yourself? But you need novelty to do that. You have to introduce new into the culture of your marriage? What are you exploring new? What are you learning new? What new languages have you learned? What new instruments have you learned to play together? But a culture of laughter is very important. When you are laughing, your brain is producing those hormones, the oxytocin that I said earlier today, those endorphins that fight depression and anxiety and cause you to feel well, that give you the opportunity to be the greatest versions of yourself. And so it is important to do these things. They are important for your wellness, for your recovery, for your healing. We talked about exploring new. Conversations of care is when you are talking, you are very intentional about having conversations with your spouse that have nothing to do with bills. It doesn't have to do with the kids. We're not even talking about our problems. We are talking about our hearts. You're talking about 5, 10, 15 years from that moment. Conversations of care, where those 3 forms of contact are happening at once. Verbal, eye, skin. So when I ask couples, what do you do for quality time? And they say we go to the movies. What's the problem with that?
No eye contact.
You're going to pay $25? You're going to pay $25 and look at your husband in the eyes the whole movie? No. And so it's important that we are very intentional about that. What things can you do to ensure those 3 forms of contact are happening at once? We're going to talk about that later. Quality time. That's 3 forms of contact happening at once. Don't mistake it sharing time and space. I have couples that say, oh man, we've spent a lot of quality time together since the pandemic. We both work from home. We're home together all the time. That is not quality. I remember I used to take my kids to go play at the park, and I would bring my laptop with me for 3 hours, and in my head it felt good. It was something I could check off the list. I spent time with my kids. There's no quality in that. There's no connection in that. In the cold zone, you are working on your purpose together. Serving your purpose together. Guys, we're talking about intimacy. Terms of endearment. What do you call your loved one? Papi, Daddy, King, Queen, Mommy, Poo-Poosh. Let me hear it. What are some others? Chérie, what else? Sweetie Pie, my boo, what else? And it's so easy to use those terms of endearment when things are going well. But when he comes home and he's having trouble paying the bills, that's when you gotta call him king more than any other time. God gives the voice of a woman so much power, and he causes the ears of the husband to be inclined to the voice of his wife. Amen. We gotta learn to use terms of endearment even when it's difficult to do so. And vice versa. I do a lot of women's conferences, so you're going to hear me talking to the women, but I'm talking to you too, man. When you really want her to hear you, raising the tone of your voice won't do it. You have to tap into those terms of endearment. In the cold zone, couples that do not prioritize self-development have issues with intimacy, because intimacy goes from level to level to level to level. If you are not growing within yourself and in your purpose, your sex lives won't grow either. What is the last new thing you learned? Everyone should go to at least 3 self-development conferences a year. So what are you doing to self-develop? What are you doing to learn new things? What are you doing to learn new positions? What are you doing to learn how to lubricate even 5 times the more? What are you doing to self-develop? Just the way that there's emotional intelligence, there's sexual intelligence as well. Self-care, mental hygiene maintenance, physical health. You can't even breathe. You can't make it on a treadmill. You can't make it in the bed. stretch lab? Have you guys heard of a stretch lab? Oh my gosh, why did I just learn about it like a month ago? There are places you can go, they're called stretch labs. They're like an hour like sessions, right? And they stretch your body like every inch of your body, and they will cause you to do things without hurting you that you never thought your body can do. Get you a stretch lab appointment. Okay, grooming and hygiene. I got 13 minutes more, help me. Grooming and hygiene matter. It's important. You wonder why he's watching the game? It sounds like lightning under the comforter when you move your feet. And that's meant to. Take the time. Take the time to keep yourself together. Men, we want you to look like how you look on our wedding day.
Amen.
You heard that, men? Ladies, no mumus. Throw away those big old panties. And it's important to share with one another. We're in the warm zone. You guys ready? It's important to engage in intentional mental and muscle relaxation. What is it that you do to help your partner decompress? It's called a mental. We're in warm zone. We're not at hot. That's the problem. You want to go straight to hot. Right? We're in warm right now. Warm. How do you cause your spouse to mentally decompress? How do you mentally massage his mind? How do you mentally massage her mind? Muscle relaxation. I am telling you, massages are powerful. Why do you go to Hand and Stone if you're married?